Okay, we got where are the Chris Hansen Predators today? I feel like I've only made one video. I've seen a little bit on these Predators and catching the Predators shit. They're all entertaining. I want to eventually like go over and watch like all of them. I'm pretty sure Chris Hansen like apparently started coming back and doing that shit and making more episodes, so I'm definitely watching that shit. But where are the Chris Hansen Predators today? It's 12 minutes, 13 minutes. Yeah, let's just see like
this
what the
video
fuck
will cover
happened.
exactly what happened to the 6 most notable creeps from Hansen vs Predator, and we're going to begin by talking about the math tutor Mike Manzi, who's had his life pretty much ruined as a result of the I'm Chris Hansen, No You're Not episode. After arriving at the steakhouse, Mike
like
bumped into
predators,
Chris immediately before trying to make the excuse that he was simply
they all look like the people who have the reworn smelly gym hoodies on and stuff. Like, that's who they fucking look like, bro.
making sure that the 13-year-old girl was safe inside her house. After desperately attempting to leave, Mike was arrested, taken back to the police station, and interrogated for approximately 35 minutes, after which the episode ends with the explanation that because
I couldn't even myself wear some shit like that because I would just feel so, like, I would feel smelly.
Was pretty clean prior to the meetup, he was only sentenced to 3 years probation, meaning that he avoided any time in prison and wasn't registered on any unsavory lists. However, this isn't to say that Mike's life is...
Oh my god, and he's like slightly thick, bro. Like, he's got the balding head. Oh my god, he's like balding, and then he like shaved his hair down here. He looks oh my god, the thickness of his thighs and stuff and his body, the holding his arms, the fucking gym shorts he's like wearing, but like his bald head, like I can't tell if this motherfucker is 12 or 42.
It's been easy ever since.
What is his shirt, bro? He's wearing a math
equation. In late 2021, a conversation was leaked with one of the show's editors, who explained that the head of security, Ron Knight, was actually Mike Manzi's uncle, and that there is a part that never aired where Manzi is insisting to Knight to let him go because he's known Manzi since birth. This is apparently why Manzi made such an effort to convince the crew to let him leave peacefully. Yet his uncle told Manzi the best thing he could do is go through the garage and remain silent, which Manzi obviously didn't do. As a result of the episode, Mike now hates his uncle, which has more than likely led to the decline of Manzi's other family relationships. However, the most interesting thing revealed in the message exchange was that Manzi was an avid watcher of TCAP back in the day, which explains why he recognized Chris Hansen immediately. Mike has since been found on a felony dating site, as well as on Facebook under a different name, where a Reddit user was able to get this picture, as well as apparently have a conversation with Mike, who stated that he gets recognized very often, and that Mike actually seems like a very chilled out dude. On Chris Hansen's podcast, Chris explained that Mike is no longer working in education.
As far as we know, he is not tutoring or teaching anywhere. He lives with his parents,
which would explain 2 recently surfaced photos of Mike working in a retail.
Bro, to be honest, he probably looks the exact same. It looks like he just grew out the hair that he barely had. And then suddenly his age just changed by like 30 years.
Job representing a pretty significant fall since tutoring for some of Connecticut's wealthiest families. However, Mike still got off lightly in comparison to John Dupee, who, as a result of his appearance on the show,
this guy looks exactly what you would think like a male carrier looks like, but like his tallness, his lengthiness is so weird and like creepy, bro.
Has now become homeless. John waltzed into the sting house without saying a word and was so creepy that simply
bro, I gotta watch this episode because look how like his whole vibe is just so creepy. Like, he's saying how he entered the house and didn't say a single word. Like, that shit is so weird, bro. And look at him, he looks so happy to be there and shit.
John waltzed into the sting house without saying a word and was so creepy that simply standing next to him was enough to terrify the decoy, yet she apparently had nothing to worry about, as he stated that he was only there to watch the football.
What is that hairstyle? Like, what were you going for? He like brushed it like forward and then like to the side, bro.
After revealing that John was simultaneously talking to more than one minor, he was arrested, interrogated, and given a notice to appear in court, where he'd be trolled and heckled by the attendees as he pleaded guilty.
And the judge actually in the case had to order the crowd to be quiet, to be orderly, because they had figured out who he was and what he was being accused of, what he was pleading guilty to.
John Dupe was given an 8-year prison sentence beginning in August.
It's like a fear of mine that I have, like having to go to court. Like even if they just call me for jury duty, like I have not a clue what jury duty is or what I'm supposed to do or why I have to be there. Like how do I enter the courtroom? Like what do I do? Like that shit. Like that shit's so scary to me, bro. Like,
although
I don't
this certainly isn't where the story ends. Only 4 months into his prison term, John's brother and sister were both killed in a car accident, which happened on the very same street where the sting house was located. And in case losing both of his siblings wasn't bad enough, there are unconfirmed anecdotes that John was also disowned by his parents after the episode went live.
That's crazy that you can get disowned as a kid, but while you're like an because if you think about it, he looks old. His parents must be old as fuck, and they're still like, "Nah, we gotta."
Was released from prison on the 24th of July 2018, serving just 2 years out of his 8-year sentence. Yet after being released, John was forced to register on a public offender list, which displayed his address as a Connecticut homeless shelter. After 3 years in the shelter, John was able to move into a group house. Although in October 2021, only 2 months after moving out of the homeless shelter, John violated his probation in an unspecified way and was sent back to prison for another year and 2 months. Since his release in December 2022, John has been residing in a shelter for recovering addicts. Although John Dupe isn't the only person on this list who's been back to prison, as Joshua Cologne also recently violated his...
It's never, I mean it is, I'm sure, but it's not like the Chick-fil-A worker. It's the mailman, the plumber.
Probation. Joshua was the New York plumber who locked the door behind him after entering the sting house, stating that his biggest nightmare was ending up on a Chris Hansen episode. After Josh comes out of the bathroom, Chris is already there waiting for him.
I know who you are.
You know who I am?
Yes.
And as a result, Josh is unbelievably honest, laying out his intentions immediately. After being taken back to the station...
Oh, I think I watched this in a video, but like it got blocked, so I couldn't... Fuck. Am I gonna be fucking...
Incredibly admit that this wasn't the first...
I think I'm okay. I don't think the video will be blocked. Do I go like this anyway? Fuck it.
First time that he met up with someone underage, which
I don't want to waste my time
to secure a 7-year prison sentence. After the sting happened, but before Josh went to prison, he was still working as a plumber and would admit to a co-worker that he was very remorseful and would happily take back his crazy Russian ex, then go back to that house with Chris Hansen. On his really bad days, he would talk about how he doesn't want to die alone and that he knows that he'll never have a semblance of a normal life again. Josh was sent to prison a few months later in early 2016 and would serve 3 years out of his 7-year sentence. However, this wouldn't be the last time that Josh ended up behind bars. In September 2020, approximately 1 year after being released from his first prison stint, a post was made to the TCAP forum stating, Joshua Cologne was convicted yesterday after spending a few months in prison for a probation violation. 4 years jail, execution suspended after 6 months, probation 9 years.
Bro, why do people violate their fucking probation shit? Like, you literally get locked up for years. It'll be like no drugs or some shit, no alcohol, like I don't fucking know, but they'll do it. And then they get locked up for like 4 more years.
Will never learn. Josh's second prison term came to an end in March 2021, after which his former co-worker and friend took to Reddit to explain the reason for the sentence. He contacted me after he got out of prison for a second time, letting me know that he'd been framed. Apparently he wasn't allowed to have any pictures of any children on his phone. His sister shared a picture of his niece in a chat that he was in, and he got locked up for it, his explanation. Interestingly, if you now search Josh's name on an inmate search engine, it states that Joshua Cologne is or was recently an inmate currently at the Connecticut Department of Corrections, CTDOC, located in Wethersford, CT, leading many to believe that Josh is now back in prison for a third time.
Damn, people are some federal ass bitches. Like, they're on Reddit talking about Joshua Cologne back in jail. Like, they're watching his fucking every move. Like, damn.
But what happened to the wealthy accountant who Chris recognized from the train? His name was Charles Lawrence, and after walking into the sting house, the following exchange occurred.
No, Chris. What are you doing?
But
what are you doing
the first time I've caught anyone.
I wish he would have sat down and talked to him,
After which Charles was arrested and taken back to the station for an interview. Throughout the interrogation, Charles made the hilarious claim that because of his poor eyesight, he read the decoy's age as 18 instead of 13.
Every time it was 18, my eye got scratched.
I got scratched. My eyeball got scratched. It has a scratch on it from a piece of dust.
However, the judge wasn't dumb enough to buy this excuse, who sentenced Lawrence to 2 years in prison, which he'd served between June 2016 and June 2018. Whilst in prison, the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants, under which Lawrence was employed, confirmed that Mr. Lawrence's AICPA member.
This is random, but I got a question. Like, anybody who's watching this, like, you can either comment or think about it. Would you be willing to do 2 years of jail? You get wrongfully locked up and you have to do 2 years of jail, but in return, what they're gonna do is the city or whatever the fuck, the state is gonna give you $5 million for those 2 years of jail that you were in. No, fuck it. Yeah, fuck it. 5 mil. 5 mil. You get 5 mil for doing 2 years of wrongfully convicted jail time or whatever. Are you gonna do it? Me personally, that's too hard of a question, so come back to me later and maybe I'll have an answer for you.
Membership was terminated effective May 25th, 2017 because of a final judgment of conviction for a crime.
I take it back, low-key. Like, that would be one hard-ass pill to swallow, but because, like, you have to push yourself to go to jail for something that you never did. Like, and that shit's gonna change you. Going to jail is gonna change you like crazy. But once you get 5 mil, bro, you get that 5 mil, you just invest that money, be smart with it, get investments, and then you're gonna set yourself up for life. So
crime punishable by imprisonment for more than 1 year. Chris also mentioned that Charles had a second job as a commercial real estate agent, and after finding Charles's LinkedIn, it states that he's the president of a company called Lawrence Real Estate Enterprises Inc., which is still active today and lists Charles as the company's CEO. However, Chris did mention on his podcast that Charles had some issues with keeping his license.
I'm not clear as to whether or not he's still involved in commercial real estate. There was an issue with his license after his conviction, after he pleaded guilty.
How does Chris Hansen like do this shit so religiously? Like, all about predators? Like I want to be able to go out without having to talk about fucking child predators. Like,
though even if he was able to, it's unlikely that Charles would get much work these days given his reputation.
No,
in May 2021, a post was made to Reddit explaining that they saw Charles Lawrence living in an over 55s complex, which has been confirmed as true after looking up the address listed on his public offender registry. This page also shows the most recent photo of him, taken in mid-2018, exhausting all of the information that we have on Charles Lawrence. However, we've got plenty of dirt on the now infamous Stephen Buchanan,
looks like a
who
fucking
gained
rat.
notoriety for showing up to the Sting house with duct tape, a camera, and various weapons in his car. This was extra terrifying as after arriving at the house, he refused to enter and rather tried to coax the decoy into getting into his vehicle.
Do you want to come in?
Hell no.
Can you just like come in and we can chat for a little bit? What do you want to do?
Ew, bro.
You got some food if you want. You want to show you around?
Can we watch a movie?
After being confronted by Chris, Buchanan tries to blame his depravity on the PTSD he got during his military time in Iraq, although despite this impediment, Buchanan still served 3 years in prison, after which fans of the show began to notice that the story he shared with Chris wasn't entirely accurate. A user by the name of Bud1985 took to Reddit in a post reading, "Stephen Buchanan, this took me a good hour of searching through old pics from Iraq, but I finally found it. I served with this turd." Bud continued in the comments by stating, "When he was active duty, he was a tank mechanic. And how do I know this? He was my tanks mechanic. He would do maintenance on it in the motor pool every Monday. He never went on a single mission. He never seen a minute of combat. He may have been through some mortar fire, but that's it."
Bro,
It
the
pissed me
Reddit
off
is on his ass to expose him for who the fuck he really is. Damn.
so bad when I heard him blame it on PTSD. The most recent photo of Stephen Buchanan comes from July 2022, which accompanies a further update from Chris Hansen's podcast.
As far as we can tell, he still lives in Connecticut with his parents, and he's working driving a large truck.
Also explaining that he was able to have a conversation with Stephen's father.
I called the number we had for Stephen Buchanan, and a man picked up, and it actually sounded a little bit like Stephen Buchanan, and I asked for Stephen. Right away, the man said, "Is this Chris Hansen?" And I said, "Yes, it is. This is why you're calling." I said, "I'm calling for Stephen Buchanan," and the father had the tone of a man exasperated with having to deal with the circumstances around his son. He told me that Stephen has moved on with his life, and essentially that he wants to only look.
But my question is, like, I understand you're being a parent and whatever, but like your kid did some shit. Like, imagine he actually managed to get a hold of a kid and how that would affect them and the rest of their fucking life. But his dad is over here like, yeah, like my son, like he's just over that shit. Like he's trying to move on with life. Like why should he be able to just fucking go on with his life and live a life, get a job, find a wife? Like why should he be able to do that when he would have like fucking traumatized a little kid?
Look forward, and then the senior Buchanan asked that I never call the number again.
But while Stephen has done a pretty good job of moving on with his life, this has been significantly more difficult for Jeff Sokol, who became arguably the most notable predator in Chris Hansen history after bringing a pepperoni pizza to the Fairfield Sting House. The iconic episode became etched in YouTube.
It's just weird and like kind of like, I don't know, unsettling, I guess. Like you see the house, like you see the pedophile sitting right here. Like this guy literally would have had sex with an underage kid in this house if this weren't a whole like sting operation for TV and shit. Like this is the outfit he would have been wearing. Like he would have came with the pizza and everything. Like this shit's insane, bro.
As Jeff seems so relaxed about the confrontation that he was only able to focus on his dinner.
I want to know a little bit more about you first. Can I eat first?
After Jeff spent 16 minutes demolishing his pizza, he'd offer Chris a slice of.
You know what they need? They need, oh my god, they should get Gordon Ramsay to do this shit, bro. Imagine Gordon Ramsay in his mouth. Gordon Ramsay would grab the fucking pizza box, fucking throw it across the room, be screaming at him, saying the craziest insults. Like I can't even think of that shit. Like I'm an insulter, like I play Call of Duty, but I couldn't even like think of that shit to say on the spot. Like I know Gordon Ramsay can.
Way out.
You can take your pizza if you like. You want to
Chris is way too easy about it. He's like, yep, go ahead and take a bite of your pizza. Okay. If you would like, you can take a slice with you. Bitch, no.
I'm good, thank you.
And even after being taken back to the station, Jeff maintained the attitude that he hadn't done anything wrong, according to a source who was at the station
didn't do
with
shit.
him.
Bro, come on, where's the proof?
He was be able to get out, be able to get a good lawyer, and to really take care of his case.
While Jeff seemed confident that he wouldn't receive any charges, this didn't alter his reality.
Look at this
as
dumbass
after
trying to go
going through
away.
3 different lawyers,
He's trying to
he'd be
hide,
sentenced
bro.
to 2.5 years in
Wow.
prison beginning on the 27th of May,
Bro, like
2007.
it's just so cringy and disgusting. Like watching these predators and shit. Like they try to be like a good citizen, dress up nice. Like bitch, you was at the house to fuck a kid.
Whilst locked up, the Jeff Sokol episode became so popular that fans of the show tracked down the restaurant from which the pizza had been ordered and began to visit the restaurant asking for the exact same pizza that Jeff had gotten.
Are
the
you
restaurant has
fanned
since
out?
had hundreds of positive reviews, many of which subtly referencing the Jeff Sokol incident. And according to an email sent to us by a fan, the restaurant had to eventually ask people to stop asking for the Sokol special, although there doesn't actually seem to be any evidence for this claim.
I feel like the
By
hype
the time
should
Jeff
have
was
died down
released
after
from
a certain
prison in
amount of
June
time.
2019, his appearance on the show had racked up a view count in the tens of
That's
millions,
Mr. Beast
leading
numbers,
Jeff to try and
low-key.
change his name legally
like
to Sonny Derek
2020.
Porter.
I don't know.
Sokol actually
Something like
went
that.
to court and petitioned to change his name to Sonny Derek Porter.
A few years ago, I was arrested as a
So
part of
dumb.
a sting
Like, people are gonna
operation
catch on
trying to
to
meet a girl who was
figure out what's wrong with
underage.
this.
The sting was part of a nationally syndicated TV show, Crime Watch
I guess he probably only did it for like work and stuff to try and get a job or some shit.
Daily Hansen vs. Predator.
But I don't
This
know if that
episode
shit
is now
clears, like,
available
your
online,
fucking
along with
history
many
and
other
shit.
troll videos and nasty comments from fans of the show. In the aftermath, I've experienced humiliation, harassment, and embarrassment.
Oh my
One
god,
could
I came to fuck a kid, and oh my god, have I been getting harassed? Boy, believe me, like nobody gives a
argue
fuck.
that
Like
this was
nobody cares about your
justified,
sob
but I've
story,
surely
bitch.
lived with much remorse since the arrest. Since my current name will always be linked via a simple internet search, I'm requesting authorization to change my
That
name.
sucks.
I'm working hard to be a better person overall and making a sincere effort to treat everyone with respect. I hope to meet
Like what really blows my mind is the whole EDP situation. Like this whole situation literally happened to a famous YouTuber by the name of EDP445, and that motherfucker still has like TikTok accounts and shit where people are literally giving him money and making little emojis and shit pop up or whatever the fuck. Like people are literally like still supporting a guy who basically got caught just like on his show. Like
new
what the
friends and
fuck is going
acquaintances
on,
and
bro?
wish not to be judged based on one gigantic mistake I made a few years ago. I hope to be judged for the
Fucking
person
idiot.
I really am, the person I am today. More than anything, I would like a second chance at a happy and safe life. However, the name change was
Dumbass.
eventually rejected, which only led to more
He tried
trolling.
to he tried to get an approval from the judge or some shit. He was like, I went to meet this. He started it off with like, I went to fuck this little kid, and now it haunts me to this day. Like, no, like they're not gonna be like, oh, I'm sorry about that. Like, we'll help you out. Like, get your name changed. No, dumbass.
It was then discovered that Jeff had been forced to sell his apartment, and according to this Reddit comment, which isn't the best evidence, Jeff moved in with his parents.
The rest of your life,
seems like he comes from a pretty
to fucking die struggling for money. Everyone hates you. Nobody can look at you the same. You get recognized for being fucking disgusting till the day you die. Like, the only way out is if you win the fucking lottery and you get stupid rich and just move far away and do whatever the fuck you want. That's your only way out.
Affluent family,
which
so he
isn't
probably just mooches from his parents and stays low-key. The most recent photo of him comes from early 2021, which unfortunately marks the final piece of information we have on Jeff Sokol, because despite being one of the show's most notable people, he certainly kept one of the lowest profile.
I hit that iCarly bitch. Damn, bro. That shit's crazy. That shit's crazy. It's like we got caught up on everybody and we haven't even seen the full episodes. I'm gonna be watching that shit, so stay on the lookout.